Hey guys, Zom Fox here, and today we have received some more information regarding the, original USFL versus new USFL lawsuit. So, this is an article from NBC Sports by Mike Florio. It was posted on the 3rd. The original USFL files motion for preliminary injunction to block Fox's league from using league and team names. The USFL is due to return in April. Those who contend to be the owners of the trademarks associated with the original USFL are trying to stop that from happening. A motion for preliminary injunction has been filed in California federal court, and a hearing will be held on March 16th. The goal of the motion is to persuade the court to issue an order preventing Fox from using the USFL name or the names and logos of 8 teams while the case proceeds. It's an aggressive but not uncommon move. Simply, the plaintiff hopes to persuade the proceeding judge that the chances of winning are so strong and the interests at play are so important that the relief ultimately sought should be granted while the underlying legal questions are addressed. The USFL is due to return in mid-April. A successful motion wouldn't directly block the season, but it will prevent from using the USFL name and the names and logos of the 8 teams that will play all their games in Birmingham. Fox will have to scramble to come up with new names, logos, and uniforms. The judge eventually will consider 4 primary factors: the likelihood of success on merits, whether the injury suffered by the alleged owners of the USFL name and trademarks is irreparable, and the balancing of the equities and hardships of the parties in an order is or isn't granted, and then finally 4, the public interest. The paperwork supporting the motion reiterates the allegation that Fox-owned USFL is a counterfeit, and that the use of the league and team names and logos deceive the public into believing that it's the original USFL, which launched in 1983. Obviously, Fox sees the value in dusting off the USFL brand and exact names and cities of 8 teams from the 80s era USFL, even if all the teams are playing in Alabama. The real question is whether the plaintiff truly owns the names and trademarks, and for the purposes of the motion for preliminary injunction, whether the only way to rectify an infringement on those rights is to prevent it now, in lieu of issuing an award of damages to be paid later. Earlier this week, lawyers representing the new USFL said that the lawsuit was completely without merit and utterly frivolous, blaming that the new USFL registered all relevant intellectual property rights back in 2011. Fox will now have a chance to prove that in court, and the first opportunity comes in 13 days, which is now 12. So, essentially, to sum this one up, we now have a date for when they're going to basically see whether or not the season is going to be postponed, pushed back, have to change, or all that stuff. So, a lot of people believe this is a cash grab by the old USFL. Now, we don't know that for sure. If they do somehow, some way, still own the trademarks, which almost every single way seems like impossible, but if they do, Fox is kind of going to be screwed. They're not going to be able to start the league like this. But if Fox basically goes there and proves it, then the success and the merits will be completely gone, and because of that, they will basically just get rid of the case. So if Fox can actually prove they have the trademarks, the original USFL or the real USFL LLC basically has no case, so they're going to lose. And then in terms of them using the exact same brand and names, as I said, the logos are a bit different, so it doesn't really deceive that they're original, especially if like the stars and the stallions are way different. Like, it's the same idea, but way different logo itself. And then, in other words, are the injuries suffered by the alleged owners of the USFL names trademark irreparable? No, it's not irreparable. Getting money is like literally what they're doing, so no, it's not. And are the balances of equities and hardships of the parties, if an order or isn't granted? I don't know about that in the public interest. I feel like more people want to see the league happen than don't want to happen. So if they actually have that, it's just I don't see how the real LLC wins this based on purely what the trademark laws are, and the idea that they still have it and hold it is very, very, very slim. Because I could legit see that neither of them do, and if neither of them do, then who cares? But if they do have it, maybe they got it, like maybe the 2011 one they did get it, but then it ran out, and then it's just, I don't know. We're going to find out basically on March 16th. That's when we find out a lot more information. As of now, we're just going to keep trucking along and just figuring out what's happening. So this has been Zom Fox. If you enjoy this content and want to be notified as soon as I upload videos about news, the original USFL or stuff like that, subscribe and make sure to hit the bell so you'll be notified as soon as I upload. And remember to have a great night.